Uncommon valor. Among Marines, time and time again, in World War II, Korea, and Vietnam, this has proven to be a common virtue. This virtue was tested on the battlefields of Iraq and again in the mountains of Afghanistan, no more so than in the Kunar province near the Pakistani border, September 8, 2009. Early that morning, American advisors were to join Afghan troops for a pre-dawn meeting with elders of a small mountain village. The group was then ambushed by more than 50 insurgents, heavily armed and firing from houses and fortified positions on the slopes above. In the attack, 4 Americans were cut off and taking heavy fire. Maintaining security at a nearby rally point was 21-year-old Marine Corps Corporal Dakota Meyer. Hearing over his radio that the Americans were pinned down, Meyer took action. With a fellow Marine driving, Meyer manned the gunner's position as they made their way toward the fighting in an attempt to help. Approaching the fight, the Marines drew intense fire. Though his position was exposed, Meyer refused to take cover. He continued to fire the mounted machine gun and his rifle. Twice venturing into the ambush, the 2 Marines evacuated 24 Afghan soldiers, many of them wounded. Grabbing a new vehicle when the mounted gun was knocked out, he returned to the action a 3rd time to provide cover for the remaining soldiers. Despite taking shrapnel to the arm, he returned again, evacuating wounded Afghans and continuing the search for the missing Americans. Finally, on his 5th trip into the kill zone hours into the battle, Meyer dismounted the vehicle and moved in on foot, locating and retrieving the bodies of his 4 fallen comrades. Meyer's bold initiative not only disrupted the insurgents' attacks, it inspired fellow American and Afghan troops to continue the fight. On this day, Dakota Meyer reaffirmed that uncommon valor was still a common virtue among Marines. Not since the Vietnam War had a Marine stood in the White House and received the Medal of Honor. That would change September 15, 2011, as President Obama awarded Sergeant Dakota Meyer our military's highest award, the first living Marine in 38 years to be so honored. The Medal of Honor has always held a special place of reverence within the American military, no more than the present generation. Those who have received it, starting posthumously with Paul Smith in Iraq and Michael Murphy in Afghanistan, are symbols of valor, honor, and sacrifice of the millions who served in these 2 wars. Dakota Meyer's actions, and those of thousands of his fellow Marines, validate that the proud traditions of the United States Marine Corps continue to live on.